a one-up review of Star Wars Andor. My name is DJ Doey Fresh. I'm here with three of my friends. I got Tony here.
Yo, yo.
I got Pucho.
What's going on, my brother?
And I got Mateo.
How you doing, buddy?
All right. I feel special. I feel like this is going to be a special moment. I haven't felt this way about anything Star Wars related in a very long time. It's been years, actually. Maybe the first J.J. Abrams film. I felt this way. Yeah, so Star Wars Andor. We're going to do a episode by episode review. I will jump right into it.
We're not going episode by episode.
We're not doing episode by episode?
No, definitely not.
No. Hell no. That'll be a century.
Yeah, we'll be here.
Maybe we should start off with like a spoiler-free feelings and then
Yeah, I like that.
jump into it.
Yeah, I'll let one of you guys start. How did you guys feel about this series?
I think that Andor was. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been recommending this shit to everyone, and it's because it's a Star Wars movie, right? Like it's a Star Wars show, right? Like obviously it's a Star Wars show, but it's a Star Wars show that is so many other things. It's got like spy themes and thriller and just like action adventure that's not tied into. We don't see a single lightsaber in the entire show. Is that a spoiler? I don't know if that's a spoiler or not.
Somewhat.
Maybe.
Maybe a
I mean,
mild
it could
spoiler.
be a spoiler, but I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, you're absolutely right.
But it's the first Star Wars show that doesn't talk about the Force, doesn't have Jedis, doesn't have lightsabers, and it's pretty fucking dope. It doesn't even announce the Palpatine or anything like that. So it's definitely a new feeling of it. And for those who don't know, it's 5 years before Rogue One.
I didn't know the years. I didn't know how many years it was. Also, they do mention Palpatine in one of the episodes, or maybe two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Maybe towards the
mention
end
him
then, right?
slightly. Towards the end of yes, they do mention him once or twice. When
When she's doing the court thing. That's
How about no spoilers?
Oh.
Keep going. What the fuck is wrong with these guys?
I think every arc has a meaning in this show, and then even the smallest arcs are beautiful.
Yeah,
That bell tower guy, I loved him from the second episode. I love that guy, and to find out that he gets a little arc, that's great. I like it.
Yeah, for me, I thoroughly enjoyed the show. My main takeaway is like, I've always known that Star Wars is capable of telling stories that aren't intertwined with like the Skywalker saga. And this obviously has connections. I mean, it's a prequel to Rogue One, which is a prequel to A New Hope. And there's all the tie-ins, that you'd want there. But for the way the story's told, they, like Tony mentioned, they don't really mention any of the characters from like the three trilogies, I guess. It's a very standalone thing. So I'm kind of hoping that they see, hey, we were really successful with this thing. We don't need to stay in this area. We can go to the far past and do, this story that, maybe there's an origin of Jedis or whatever, or just they could fuck off and tell like a random story about like some stormtrooper that defects, or they could make up anything. Like they could tell a story about anything. I think I don't know. I think the show proved that they could do whatever the fuck they want. And I mean, The Mandalorian did a little bit, but there's still a lot of tie-ins with
For sure.
with them introducing certain characters and things like that. A lot of callbacks. Like they're trying to pull on like the nostalgia from the other series. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the show. I don't got much else to say until we hop into the spoiler section.
No, I mean, you nailed it. Like The Mandalorian and Obi-Wan were fantastic. They're really good shows to recommend to your buddy that's into Star Wars. If your buddy's not into Star Wars, they're probably not going to like those shows as much. I think Andor you could recommend to damn near anyone. Like just it's a spy thriller in its root, in its essence. It's like this spy mystery thriller. That's all it is. It's a heist movie. Like it's a heist series. Like it's interesting.
I think it's also amazing too. Like the costumes in the show is freaking well done. Even the music, like the background music and all that, fucking fantastic.
Incredible.
Yeah.
S tier. I think this is gonna take Star Wars in a new direction. The way that the music, I had to stop a few times and be like, yo, this music is absolutely fucking incredible. Like whoever created this shit was on one in their Star Wars bag.
I think his name was Tony Gilroy. I'm probably fucking up his name.
Tony Gilroy.
Gilroy, thank you.
I don't know if he made the music. He's like the director or the writer.
No, I think he's the director.
Like
Like he put it all together, and I think he did a damn good job. I mean, Andor is not my favorite of the like all the off shows, off the movies, but it is definitely a good thing because I don't feel that overpowerful like power. You know what I mean? Like these are just normal people trying to fight each other or like working with each other. And damn, I just want to get into spoilers, so I'll just shut up.
1 second. As far as the music goes, it feels synth wavy, right? Am I wrong for feeling like this is like a Blade Runner sound?
They use some sounds in this series that I don't think you've got in other Star Wars films and shows before. Like there's a part that has like some electric guitar in it. That shit's wild. Like fucking electric guitar in Star Wars, that shit's cool. But you're right. Like even the intro, like that intro theme changed every week, and it kind of changed with like the theme of like how that episode was going. It got a little like stronger and a little bit more full and a little bit more fierce.
damn, I'm a skip intro bitch, so I'm like skip the intro, get right to. So I didn't even know the themes change or what. I'm like, I'm not watching fucking Andor, Papa Big. I'm not watching that, so I just skipped it. But maybe I missed out. So.
It's such a short one that I was willing to do it. Some shows like Archer, man, I was watching Archer. I was binge watching Archer one time, and I skipped that shit every time because that shit is like a 1.5, 2 minute long like intro to the show. Don't got
I
time
stopped
for that.
for a second and I said, why are they making me watch this Andor? I'm skipping the recap. I'm skipping the start of the show. Why are they making me watch this Andor? And I peeped that the song kind of grew. This whole Andor beginning, it just every episode kind of grew more and more. And I thought that was very clever.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and check that out then. For me, the music was like, passable. I never felt like, oh, this new music is so good. And in fact, I was just saying a second ago that, oh, Andor could, they're proving they could branch off and do whatever they want or whatever. I love me my Star Wars music, and I need my callbacks to my favorite Star Wars themes. Okay, I want little hints, little.
This had zero.
Yeah, and I don't know. I love this show so much. As soon as I finished the finale today, I went and watched Rogue One right away. So I watched Rogue One right after. I was like, I want to see like how Andor's character behaves differently, or what are some tie-ins, and see like so I also watch Rogue One, and just not only is Rogue One just this incredible movie, probably the best Star Wars movie that's come out since the original trilogy. They have a lot of little themes in that movie. They're unique, but then they just throw in a couple notes and sounds from like the themes we're familiar with, and it just feels so good. And maybe that's what I want. But I'm a nostalgic bitch, so.
Anything else before we start ruining it for everybody?
I mean, overall, acting phenomenal. Like you said, the costumes are great. I like the sound design. I like that we get to see some new locations. That's exciting. This is a super mild spoiler. We don't spend any time on a certain sandy planet that that Anakin Skywalker hates so goddamn much in this show, and it's great. When's the last time that we saw a Star Wars thing that didn't visit Tatooine at some point?
One thing I'll add is that the CGI versus practical effects and actual location and setting it felt good. I don't like when I can tell that the background is clearly fake. And it felt like when you stepped into what's the guy's name? He had the showroom of like all the artifacts. I liked that these artifacts were there and like you could touch them, you can hold them. And I like that there's little spoilers even in his showroom, and I love it. It was so cool.
I do a little spoiler. I do like how, not even a spoiler.
We're gonna get in just right now. Just don't do it. I was gonna say the new trilogy doesn't go to Tatooine at all, right? Like they're on Jakku, which is another desert planet, which feels just like Tatooine, anyways.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree with you. It's nice to again separate. They just really separated themselves from the Skywalker saga. Like literally, the only connection is this guy happens to be in a movie where, you know, they steal the Death Star plans in Rogue One. And of course that connects to everything. But aside from that, it's like, this is as standalone as we've gotten so far. And I'm hoping they branch out into more standalone content and start remaking some of the old extended universe stuff that got canned and is no longer canon. Maybe you should, you know, bring it back a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Real quick.
Shit was fire.
Does the actor that plays Andor, he feels like Star Wars. I don't know how to explain that, but when you see Luke Skywalker, you see Star Wars. When I see this guy and I see him acting and he's playing the roles, he just is Star Wars. I don't know how to describe it. He is in, like, I really enjoy this guy's acting.
Yeah, I love his character. He to me, he feels like some mix of like a Luke Skywalker and like a Han Solo character.
He's got a little bit of the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
there.
I love it. I don't know how they're achieving that, but when I look at him and it's maybe it's like the costume design and other things, but like I just get those vibes, you know. But I don't know.
All right. Well, if you don't want any spoilers, get the fuck out of here, because we're about to get spoiler rich.
No, just mute the video and just, you know, minimize the tab. We need those views. We need those views.
So real quick, right? I found it funny. This is the first time that I can remember that they bring religion into Star Wars or into some type of show of Star Wars. And I'm talking about where the girl, I think her name was Vel. I forget her name. The girl,
Vel is the aunt, isn't she? The auntie?
Vel is the aunt. Tripping. Yeah. So her niece doing prayers and reading. I get like it's like a Bible or something, but they're praying to a god and all this. I think it's the first time that I've ever seen in Star Wars that like some sort of religion. Like I don't think I've ever. Am I wrong?
I mean, the Force.
The Force.
Well,
yeah.
Let's get I'm saying like
in the beginning is like your old religion is out of. Yeah. What is the one guy he tries to play Darth Vader in A New Hope, and Darth Vader Force chokes him right away for disrespecting the Force.
But I agree with what you're saying. This is like a secular religion with structure.
Yeah.
Like the Force kind of has like a way of just being very wavy. This is like, these are the prayers. This is what you repeat. And
like
this
a church
feels
going
like
thing.
Religion.
Like,
yeah.
That's
so I agree.
I found it.
It feels
interesting.
It feels culty. It just hit home with me. It feels culty.
I mean, to skip super far ahead, even that funeral procession in like the last episode, they're chanting "Sky and Stone." I thought that was so fucking cool. I was like, damn. I was like, we've never seen a funeral proceeding in Star Wars before, and I'm sure each planet has their own customs and whatnot. It's kind of cool. It's cool that they're building out the worlds to that level in this show.
That's what I was gonna say. The world building, really fucking cool. Like I enjoyed every location they took us to, and it became memorable. They created a memory there that I'm like, I know what Aldani is. Now when they repeat, I'm like, oh, that's where the garrison was at. It felt good that each episode carried some sort of weight. If the episode wasn't about action or it didn't have, then there was arc building and there was just some sort of story progression. And I enjoyed that a lot.
I'm not gonna lie, like There's one character in this thing that I'm interested in because I just want to know what happened to them, and that's Kino Lo or Kino Loy, I think it is how you pronounce it.
I love that.
I want to know, did he make it? Did he jump? Did someone help him swim? Like, I want to know because, like, even his character in the prison, I guess, or the shop, his role is pretty dope. Like, he's like an officer, I would say, like of the crew or leader, and
it was shocking because I'm like, I know him from somewhere. He's the boss from Heavenly Sword on the PS3.
That's
Is
what
that
you know
what you know him
Are
from?
you serious?
Yeah.
He's fucking Andy Serkis, bro.
He's
the voice. He's Gollum. He's from Lord of the Rings.
Really?
Precious. He's Caesar. It was Caesar in the Planet of the Apes. You know, the main monkey or ape that.
More recently, he's in Wakanda. He's one of the fucking dealers in Wakanda.
He's Claw in the MCU.
Like, this man's
What a phenomenal actor.
He's
really
one
is.
of the greatest actors of our generation, honestly.
He's the
Holy
boss
shit.
in Heavenly Sword.
He is.
It's
I,
fucking
I
good.
love you, Dory.
That'd be like you talking about Andor. You're like, oh yeah, he's that dude from those weird Japanese energy drink companies.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happened to him, like, or what happens. I might be interested to see maybe a little spin-off just of him, of his background, how the fuck he got where he got.
Nah, don't encourage him because Star Wars loves spin-offs and a lot of them are just not great.
Yeah, I agree. Yo, how did this
So
show?
part of me wants him to come back in season 2.
Yeah.
You know, some surprise that he made it. But there's also like a poetry to the fact that like he was pivotal in keeping these guys in line, and when they lost all hope, he was pivotal in getting them to fight for their freedom. And even though he doesn't get to like benefit from that, there's like a sadness to that story arc there. It's bittersweet, right? Like he did this big thing to get all these people out of this shit situation, and he doesn't get to reap those benefits.
Yeah.
And that made that like those episodes very powerful. It does cheapen it a bit if he gets to survive, but I just loved his character so much. Like I wouldn't mind seeing him on the screen again. So.
There's an interesting thing they did in this show where they spent a lot of time showing like the machine and the bureaucracy that is the Empire. And I thought that was really interesting. I thought it was clever. I think it explains some of the quabbles that I've had with Star Wars, because it's like, well, how are they this big, powerful empire and this shit happens? How are they fighting them with like 5 X-wings? And it's because the empire is so big, they don't think they can actually be challenged. They're just such a big machine that those tiny little pieces can get in the gears and fuck everything up.
The show humanized the Empire to the point where I was almost cheering for some of the Empire characters, and I was very into what the Empire was doing. I loved the boss guy, the guy who's just old and witty. He reminded me of my Irish boss for some reason, just throwing those little cracks out there. I liked the black dude that was a manager of like 4 planets, and he was like uppity, and he was like, oh, all you want to do is raise your rank. And I like Deirdre. I liked her character. She's climbing up. She's smart. I even like Cyril. Like he was like possessive, like to a point where he was almost crazy about Cassian and the murders and shit like that. That kept me hooked.
He's definitely in love with Deirdre, right? Like that's like Dedra or whatever her name is. Like he's definitely in love with her, right? Like that's part of the drive of what's going on here.
I thought she was hot. Her character, just this real boss bitch. Like she's a boss bitch. I'm sorry if that's like wrong. She's just so bossy, and I loved it. And I'm like, boss me around. Yes, ma'am. I got you.
I'm pretty sure in that last scene they fuck.
You think
There's
so? That's
no
how she
way you
thinks
don't
it?
fuck in that situation.
I mean, this is to that point. This is the first Star Wars show that is like shown hints of sex or like what is it when he wakes up in that beach town or whatever, that beach planet that he gets arrested on?
Oh yeah. I want to say I find it weird, right, that Luthien, if I pronounce his name right, um, he has this like a little darkness to him in the ways, and it's just like, you know. By the way, that fucking scene in space where he's that. Well, the speech too, but that scene in the space where he's getting fucking captured, I guess, and they're gonna search
the tractor
him.
beam,
Bro. Their man destroys these guys like instantly and just fucking warps out of there. The fucking, I guess the closest thing you could say to a lightsaber are
Right.
those.
I was gonna say, I would say there's a lightsaber that shows up.
Yeah, those are the closest things, and I thought that's fucking badass.
you know,
I thought that
that's
scene was kind of dumb, and my wife was like, "This scene is incredible." Whoosh, the lightsabers pop out of the ship, and he does a barrel roll and destroys those ships. And I was just like, the precision necessary to pull that off, it pisses me off. Okay, it pisses me off because again, they make a huge deal in the old Star Wars like content of like how hard it is to like survive these space battles, how skilled these pilots need to be, how you're an ace pilot if you kill just 5 other like aircraft, that you're like considered like top notch. And this guy he like fucked up the tractor beam on a Star Destroyer. He killed like 3 ships and then I'm like, he's the greatest pilot of all time. Like, fuck it.
this is the same reason you hate Poe Dameron, though.
Yeah, for real, same reason.
But I agree, though. Honestly, that tractor beam scene kind of took me out of it a little bit because I was like, you know what? I was like, if there was just some like bullshit that you could shoot out of the back of your ship and destroy this tractor beam, why didn't Han Solo have that? Han Solo would have 100% had that shit on the Millennium Falcon.
He said, fire the countermeasure. I'm like, what the fuck is this countermeasure? That is fucking tearing this shit apart. I was like, this is the greatest countermeasure ever created.
Yeah, it was pretty badass. No, not badass, but it was dope. I'd never seen it before.
It was badass. I've got some issues with it because of the context, the rest of Star Wars. But maybe that shit's really expensive. Maybe that's how you can reason it out.
It also felt like plot armor a little bit.
For sure.
It just felt like a little bit of plot armor. But I did find that he is very wealthy, and I liked his reasoning for starting this whole thing. They were like, yo, Aldani didn't need to happen. And he's like, it did because they were slowly draining us. Now they put their shit against our necks. That's when you can get a rebellion, is when it really starts to tighten up. And I thought that was very clever.
He's definitely got some darkness. He sacrificed an entire like mission just to protect his man on the inside. That speech he gave, phenomenal. Like that dude was going for it.
Yeah.
Which speech?
The one in the super deep level of Coruscant where he's talking about what he sacrificed.
Yeah. He's like, what did you sacrifice? And the guy is fucking asshole.
And it's always interesting too when like the way they set the mood. It's like they make you also feel like that character, like listening to the speech. It's like they bring you in and you're that person that he's talking to. And they did like I said, that part, they did a fucking fantastic job. I do think that he's willing to sacrifice the few for the many, right? Like, and him telling him like, yo, yeah, 30 guys and him, fuck it. Let them go ahead because this guy's going to be a key later down the road that we need. And I'm like, you know what? I have to agree with this guy.
I mean, the theme of the show basically, dude, is there's one way out and it's fighting.
Yeah.
That's the speech at the end, at the funeral. That's a speech in the prison break. That's the running theme is just getting up and standing up and fighting.
One thing I didn't understand, okay, I don't know why they wanted to kill Andor, because it didn't seem like that was the original plan. The original plan seemed, come with me, we'll do this job, we'll pay you out mad bread, and then you get to just go fuck off and do what you want. Maybe you fuck with us afterwards, maybe you don't. You do what you want. Like, that seemed to be what the deal was.
As soon as
Andor
ended,
does the job, he's like, you know what? I'm not going to go all the way because there's some fuck shit going on. Let me just take my cut and be out. We have to kill him. I'm like, he's a liability.
He's a loose end.
No,
Wow.
that is true. Like he's a loose end. Like that's why he went back when he went to the funeral, he went back
because
to kill him.
It wasn't part of the original plan.
Of course
it's
not.
Well, what did he do to become a loose end?
He didn't fuck with him 100%.
Well, he kind of ditched him on the planet, but he at that point he knew some fucky shit was gonna happen, right? Like he knew that something was going on
for sure.
He said he was like, all right, this crew, there's people in this crew trying to backstab each other. I don't want nothing to do with this shit. I'm gonna take my bread. I got you here. I got you out of the doctor. I flew you out of that shit. All you need to do is get this to the moon. I'm getting the fuck out. I'm gonna take my money, and that's it. I upheld my end of the deal. It would have been no difference if he took the ship to where it needed to go. He got his money and left. It'd be the same loose end. So I'm just like, it didn't make sense to me. What was like, unless his whole plan the whole time was to instantly kill Andor. It didn't seem that way. That
feels
part just
that way.
felt weird to me. But.
It feels that way because of how the girl behaves that he messes with, Lutheran. She's ready to kill everyone. I'm like, God damn, this bitch is ruthless. She's ready to assassinate everyone in this shit.
They got
She's down for the cause.
No loose ends, dude. Like, imagine they catch Mon Mothma, they catch our boy Luthen. They're not gonna die. They're gonna be tortured.
I think it's Luthen.
Is it
There's
Luthen?
So many powerful woman characters in this show, and I loved it. I loved every part of it, except for Val. I don't like her.
I want a little bit more of that.
These names.
I want a little bit more of that Cassian backstory. I want to see a little bit more of that, like the little kid Cassian, and see where he came from. That's what I want in season 2. Yeah, I thought that was a cool thing they did, where they just drop you in. There's no subtitles. They're speaking whatever language is native on that planet. I thought that shit was so cool. I thought that was one of the coolest parts of the first half of the season.
I hated it for a second though, because I was like, "What the fuck are they saying?" And then I was just like, "Okay, I get what they're trying to aim for here." But like I said,
it's such a clever way to push a story forward. Is by giving us 2 stories to pay attention to, and then kind of just like dropping back and forth. But I thought they did it masterfully. I thought it was awesome the way they did it.
I want his sister to be out there, okay?
Same.
And I'm hoping they're not gonna just drop that because Marva was like, your sister's not out there. There's no one to find. That's a dead end or whatever. But
I didn't think Marva was dead at the end. The entire time during that funeral, I was waiting for her to pop up. I thought she had faked her death just to have the riot happen.
There's a conspiracy.
And that she's out hiding somewhere.
Yeah, there's a conspiracy that she's not dead. Like I went on Twitter and shit like that and read it, and there's like a bunch of people saying like, "Oh, I didn't see her die. Did you see her die? I'm thinking this, and this is happening." And honestly, that funeral, I think that's the start of the rebellion. I think that that whole system or planet, whatever. I think that right there, her speech, like, because everybody was kind of already on the edge, but her speech, they just said, you know what, she's fucking right. Fuck this shit, and it went all out. And I gotta say,
they said, fuck Best Buy. Fuck Best Buy.
Fuck Best Buy. No, that speech was incredible. I loved it. I did feel similar. I was like, oh, are they gonna do some weird like, oh, Marva's gonna go do something against the Empire? But she did, just in the form of that hologram.
Kind of like a force ghost.
She's definitely dead. There's no way that she's still alive. I mean, she was fucking dying. Like, what is she gonna? What the fuck is she gonna do?
I think it's a better story if she is dead. I think that's what actually works better. But the typical Star Wars thing would be to have some kind of like a fake out or some kind of. Yeah. And I'm kind of glad that they have subverted a lot of that. They've moved away from what you think a traditional Star Wars show is gonna do.
Also,
That first person that he hit with that stone at the funeral,
fucked up.
Fuck that dude up.
Yeah, I love the fact that he was beating the shit out of people with the dead body of Marva. Like that's her body in ashes. You know what I mean? He's fucking people up with her.
The dude's a tank, man. I swear he grabbed a metal arm and he was beating people with a metal arm at one point in that scene.
Yeah, he grabbed the stormtrooper and he just headbutt him. The stormtrooper had full helmet and everything. He just headbutt him, took him out. I was like, what the fuck?
The Empire is really over, like, spread thin at this point. Their costumes for their stormtroopers are coming from like the Spirit Halloween store down the way. There's no protection being offered.
Yo,
Paper mache helmets. Yeah.
Yo, I want to add something. They might not have had the best costumes, but these motherfuckers were accurate in this show, all right? When they shot, they were shooting to kill, all right? They landed a lot of shots.
The scenes were brutal. The prison break, the fucking, like, the funeral riot. The Empire put people down. They were using, I swear to God, that gun they had that was mounted on the back of that
The
thing.
50 cal.
That thing was an anti, like, vehicle. That was like anti armor, and they were shooting people with it.
Yeah, they're dropping the fuck out of them. Also, going back to the prison, I found it interesting that I think that's the first time I ever seen them use some sort of, like, floor grabbing fucking, I don't
Think
even
about
know
it.
what the fuck it is.
It's the first time they've even shown us a prison. We've never even known, like, where do these offenders of the Empire go?
No,
Well, we've seen the detention level that they put Leia on. We saw whatever the fuck they did with Rey in what was that, Force Awakens? They capture Rey. Daniel Craig is the stormtrooper.
Mm-hmm. But to Doey's point, those seem like jails.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I
like
mean? Not
like a straight up-
prison.
yeah.
also,
But what are you saying? A floor grabbing
like
thing?
that I forgot what they called it, but it's like how they controlled them in the prison, I guess.
Oh, the electroshock
That
floor
electroshock
thing?
floor?
Yeah, I don't know what to call it. I thought they named it something particular. I didn't catch
You
it.
called it a floor grabbing thing. It's just
something.
it's
Trying to-
electricity. They'll just shock you to death if you fuck around. That's all.
Like I found it interesting because I didn't see, like, I've never seen any like that shit before in Star Wars. Even, you know, it's technology is like they're fucking in the future, so you know.
Yeah. Pretty much from the opening scene, this movie was like they did the Rogue One thing. Actually, if you go back and watch Rogue One, they have a similar opening. They're in like this kind of dystopian looking city, heavy Blade Runner vibes in that when he goes to like essentially a brothel, right? He walks into a bar. He's like, "Oh, you want me to get you this girl or that girl?" It's like clearly he's going back there to fuck. Like that's the business that they got going on. And then he ends up killing a couple people. Same exact deal as Rogue One. He kills a couple people right in the beginning.
I need to watch Rogue One tomorrow. I think that's gonna
it's
be
good.
on the
God,
docket.
it's so fucking good, yo. That movie is so good. I
can't wait. I
got
can't wait.
teary eyed.
I can't wait for the robot to get introduced. I forget his name.
K2SO. Yeah, that was one of the
K2SO.
things I was like, hold on, I'm gonna finish my thought. How the fuck did that guy die in the beginning of this show? He like headbutt a guy and he's like, "You killed him." I'm like, "Come on."
Oh
really?
yeah, I
It was
so-
the classic Con Air. The guy from Con Air, our boy, what's his name? That was in Face Off.
Nick Cage.
Nicolas
The best-
Cage.
Nicolas Cage, the greatest actor in America. So remember in the beginning of Con Air, he headbutts him and then his nose goes into his brain. I think that's what happens.
You think
I
that's
thought
what
I thought it was the way the guy fell or something. I thought
That's
he like
what I
landed
thought.
directly on his head, like his
was
feet
just
up in the air on his head.
I was like, did he drown in the puddle? Like what the fuck happened?
Con Air.
All right, enough with the con.
I'm not gonna. I'm also not
I was
gonna.
like, how the fuck did they kill him? I was like,
He should have killed
Joey,
the other guy too. To be honest,
Joey,
like,
what do you mean? He did kill the other guy.
Yeah, he shot the other guy too.
no. Like, didn't the guy
bleeding
report
for
it?
his life.
He reported it though before he got off, right?
Nah,
I'm
he put
mistaken.
the guy was on the ground helping his buddy, and he went up behind him and capped him.
I could have sworn he called for backup though.
Nah, the guy was pleading for his life. He was like, "Don't worry, I'll tell them that that he fell, and this is what happened."
We
He
were
was trying-
messing around and this happened. Like, you know what I mean? Rogue One starts the same exact way, by the way.
I need to check
they
that
get
out.
cornered by some
Shoots him in the
guards.
back.
He shoots the guards, and the guy he was just getting information from is like, "Oh my god, what are you gonna do?" And the guy's got a fucked up arm, so Cassian's like about to climb up, and he's like, I can't climb, and Cassian's like, don't worry. Blow, and just shoots him and then goes and climbs.
Shit is a
Like,
beast.
because he's like no loose ends.
Yo,
You know what I'm
tell
saying?
me, why
Cassian
his-
is this the Han Solo connection there. Cassian shoots first. There's not even a question of whether Cassian shoots first or not.
doesn't his blaster remind you of the Blade Runner guy's blaster?
Yes, it's fucking cool as hell. That little flippy thing it does that I have no idea what it does. Shit is so cool.
Might be
Yeah, all
like-
the Star Wars guns, they always have these weird attachments and gadgets that you're like, that shit doesn't do anything.
Shit don't make sense. Like,
I love it.
It doesn't do anything, but don't you want to flip it? Don't you want to have that gun and
No,
just
I love it. I love it.
But no, yeah, he definitely by Rogue One, he's already adapted the whole. That's why season 2 is gonna be dope. You're gonna see his whole characteristic change a lot more. And I'm gonna tell you, Star Wars is definitely gonna bring his sister. That's my hunch. They're bringing his sister in season 2. Some
That's
way,
your
somehow,
prediction?
they're gonna bring her in and whatever. But he's gonna become more aggressively dark as a character in season 2. Because like in Rogue One, like you said, he just shoots the guy in the back, bro. Ain't no honor in that shit. But no loose ends, like Pucho said. Like he's about the business. We got to get the mission done. Anything that fucks the mission got to get fucking dealt with. Simple.
yo, why was he being crazy dumb over that little unit when they had all those big metal heavy things hanging above? I just felt like he was going
More
way
words,
too hard. The Star Path unit that was stolen, the Imperial unit that he was selling, and that got them together.
because in his mind at that point, that was the only reason that guy was going to take him with him. That was his escape plan. It wasn't until like he realized, oh shit, this guy wants me. He doesn't give a fuck about this unit.
Yeah, and not only that, like that unit was worth so much money to him. So it's like he got a hold of this thing and he held on to this shit for God knows how long. He's like, when the shit hits the fan, this is my get out of jail free ticket. You know what I mean? So I think there may be some attachment to that thing. I did think you're gonna get shot and killed. This guy made it very clear. Leave that shit behind. But
Facts.
But yeah, so Mateo was saying, I'm interested in how they're going to introduce. In Rogue One, Cassian has a droid. He's like the security droids. Remember in that beach planet?
Yes, the guy that hemmed them up.
The guy that had
Just
them up.
straight up on the throat, man.
Right, he has one of those droids in Rogue One. His name is K2SO. And I'm like, how are they going to introduce this guy? Is it going to be like something like maybe he takes a part out of like the B2, the little droid that Marva had, and put it into this other thing, or another thing that I was like, Luthen's ship. I don't know. It's weird. It's the only time that I've noticed that like an AI in Star Wars. Maybe I'm missing something.
Solo had one.
So Han Solo had an AI in his ship
In
on
the,
the Millennium
in, the
Falcon.
in the Solo movie, the Millennium Falcon in that movie had an AI in it. It was talking real dirty to Lando Calrissian. I'm pretty sure the Lando Calrissian fucked that ship.
I don't remember that. But anyways, yeah. I'm like, maybe the AI on board this ship is like the personality of K2 or something. I don't know. It's an unnecessary connection, but I was
It
like,
definitely felt like why he was landing all those hits on those TIE fighters was because of the AI on that ship.
I like that. I do like the little stuttering droid that he has. That droid is like, he's a little broken, he's a little rough, and it makes him a little bit more adorable for that.
Put character to him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Although
he reminded me of Wally. Like, he's a little rundown. He had his better days. I don't know.
Cassian.
He had so much personality. I don't know. When Marva died, he's so depressed. It's sad. That droid made me sad.
What do y'all think about that line from Bix at the end? First off, I didn't think Bix was going to make it. I'm glad that he made it out safely. I'm glad that she got off planet. What do you think about that line though, where like she says he'll find us, and there was like kind of like foreboding music for a little bit, and she's like, Cassian will find us, and I was like, who else would she be talking about? She talking about Darth? Is that a reference to Darth Vader tracking him down?
because even Cassian looked at her like, what do you mean? Like, what did you say? And he's like, you will find us. He was like, Oh yeah, I'll find you. That stutter, the whole hesitation. It's like, who the fuck are you really talking about?
What do you think the noise was that made them go that crazy? It was like a death call.
Yeah, they said it was like the death sounds of the children in particular of some planet that they wiped out. That's fucking dark. That's one of the darker things they've tossed into a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, that's fucked. I did find it a little silly that like Bix's last line ended on like the super hopeful note of
Yes.
Cassian will find us, and you have like this beautiful feeling of, oh, Andor's gonna run off, do some shit, but he's gonna get back to these people, and he just goes to Luthen's ship, and he's just like, kill me. I'm like, what? You're not gonna find them? Just fucking kill me. I'm like,
I think he knew deep down that he wasn't gonna get killed. It was just like one of those like.
Absolutely. But the go in and that's his approach to it. It's wild.
It's a risk it all type shit.
I honestly don't really understand that scene too well. Like I don't know. I could picture a world where if Marva's speech didn't happen, Luthen would have killed Andor there. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Marva's speech kind of I don't know. I feel like that's why Luthen was like also just gonna say, fuck it, I'm gonna leave here empty handed. Like, we're not gonna get Andor. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know.
Well, that seemed like one of the obviously Luthen has gotten his hands dirty before, right? Like, he rescued Andor off the planet the first time, all that fun shit. But I don't think he's ever been directly viewing like straight up rebel activities, like a riot that he didn't start. Like, he had no part of that riot happening. That was all just the people rebelling on their own. I thought that kind of moved him in that scene. That kind of threw him off a little bit. Also, to Doey's point, that dude on the bell kicking that stormtrooper off that tower. It's my favorite part.
Yeah, I love that. I was like,
beast.
yes.
I thought they were gonna kill Bellman, and I was so happy they did not kill Bellman.
Yo, he Sparta kicked the shit out of that stormtrooper. Right? And everybody saw it and was like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Just too much going on.
Dropped his ass.
The
Like,
Bellman wins. I felt like so for one, I did not like Cyril, the security guy that basically kicks off the whole show by going mad hard to try to catch Andor.
What about his mom, who is clearly a trope? If there's ever a trope for a mother, that is the trope.
The whiny mom.
I guess.
She was nagging the shit out of this guy. At least he hated
100%.
her. My wife hated her. She's like, she's here again. What the fuck? No, his whole storyline seemed very pointless to me. Like, I don't really know what he adds to the show. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he's like, I liked he was so obsessed. He was so obsessed. Like, he was crazy about it. Like,
I think he kind of...
that part is interesting. I'm saying, like, if you really track his impact on everything, it's like, well, clearly his motivations in the beginning really do kickstart the whole show. But then after that point, he has no real impact. So you get all these scenes with him all throughout, and then it ends with him just saving Dedra. It's like, did we waste all this screen time on this guy?
I think that he's kind of like he's the flip side of Cassian. He's like, he humanizes the Empire a little bit, but he's also the flip side of Cassian. That scene where Cassian's like in prison and the episode ends and Cyril's at that little like cubicle and there's 5,000 other cubicles of people just looking at stupid bullshit. He's also in his own prison. He's in his own prison of like the machine that is the Empire. So he's kind of supposed to show that like you might as well rebel, I guess. Like I'm gonna be surprised if he doesn't get some kind of like an arc where he starts getting some rebel sympathies.
Who do you think his uncle is?
I'm not sure, dude. I'm really not sure.
His uncle is somebody.
Might be Palpatine.
It could
Who
be
the
Palpatine.
fuck knows? Imagine his uncle is
somebody.
Palpatine. And then I also felt like Mon Mothma's storyline is almost like, I feel like it only works if you know who she is, because she's a major character, by the way.
I didn't
but like
know that.
y'all probably don't even know who she is exactly. So it's like, I feel like they either should have like not gone so heavy and do just light things with it, or they should have gone really heavy with it so that y'all have a better understanding. She's basically she ends up being like the leader of the rebellion. If you go back and watch, she's in Return of the Jedi, so she's like in a position where everybody, all the different groups of the Rebel Alliance, she's the leader of the Rebel Alliance. Like everybody's kind of talking to her. And then there's a similar scene to that in Rogue One, where all the different factions of the Rebel Alliance come together. And
Yeah, she's the chick in the where they were destroying the spacecraft in space or whatever, and everybody was arguing what to do.
Yeah,
And-
the Death Star attack. She's like running that meeting basically.
Yep, that's who she is. If I
but
don't,
but I guess it's not gonna be. That's not clear to anybody who's watching this show if they don't recognize. Oh, her name is Mon, and the other person who's in charge of all the shit's named is Mon Mothma. Like beyond that, like, or maybe if you watched, I think it's Rebels or one of the animated shows. She's a senator in that show, and again, you still got to make the connection that that's the character from Return of the Jedi. It just felt like that part required like Star Wars knowledge in order to be like understanding who this person is and why it's important.
I think it kind of shines through either way. Like she's a senator that also has rebel sympathies, and she's working with Luthen, right? That's easy enough. You don't need to necessarily know that she becomes like one of the mothers of the rebellion or anything like that. And that shit's extra. And this show did a lot of stuff like that. They make a reference in the last episode to that casino from that third sequel movie.
yeah, where they. What's his name? I forget his name, bro.
Poe Dameron.
Where Poe was.
Or
at.
not Poe. Poe doesn't go there. Finn? Does it Finn that goes there?
Finn goes there, but who's the guy who's the fucking?
You're talking about Benicio del Toro's character.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember what his
His
actual
that
name was.
Casino is the one
he
they're talking
betrays
about.
them immediately.
Yeah, instant.
That's the casino that they're talking about. That you're talking about. Where he was.
But,
at.
like,
That was I hated that scene.
That's on them,
he's
though.
just like, because he's like, you think the Empire's bad? Look at the bad the rebels have done. It's like, it's a rebellion, okay? You got to crack some eggs to make an omelet. The Empire's literally killing people left and right. It's not the same. It's not the same. Don't equivocate, okay?
Yeah, that's on them. You see Benicio del Toro all done up in makeup, don't trust him. Doesn't matter if he's the collector. Doesn't matter if he's in Star Wars. Just don't trust that man if you meet him in space.
Facts.
What was the point of Cinta and Vel being on that plane on Ferrix?
I
They
think
did nothing, right?
they were
For
just
her
kind
to
of
kill that undercover dude, I guess.
Yeah, they were just kind of observing. Cinta's a badass.
Yeah,
Cinta's
I
badass.
loved her character, but I'm just like, they put him on Ferrix. They spent screen time being like, oh, they're undercover. Oh, this is going on, that's going on. It's just like none of
Vel-
it was important, and it was just like,
Vel came off as a very whiny person in that
She's
Era.
she's very needy, and Cinta's just like her number one is the rebellion.
Yeah.
And Vel just wants to like cuddle or something. She's like, no, dude, it's the rebellion's happening right here. I got to go
Yeah.
stab this man in an alley.
and Andor notices this right away. Like he tells her, like, you came from privilege, or you're like a rich girl playing this kind of thing. So he could kind of see that she's, she kind of fell into this through, not
the right
your
people.
typical means, but not your typical means. Whereas like a lot of other people, their lives are broken by the Empire, and that's why they're in this position. And I mean, it kind of shows how like maybe entitled, and then also like how in big, in moments, like her focus isn't like, I don't know, she's not like Cinta was way more like eyes on the prize, like we got to do this, I didn't fucking pick you up at the place, I had to track the guy, okay, like fuck out of here, like I don't know, I thought that was interesting, but
The
I just
heist-
found their presence was pointless.
The little heist bit was my high points. It's crazy. This show kept having high points. That heist scene happened where they're ripping off. I was like, okay, that's fucking great. That was just action. And then like
Where they're doing what?
Where they're ripping off the Empire. There's the first
heist.
mission they're doing.
Yeah.
It was
Okay,
a slow build-up, though, to me.
There was a little bit of slow buildup, and then it was just so good. It was just on. And then then the prison break scene happened. I was like, holy shit. I was like, this show outdid that heist. I don't even remember the heist anymore. Here's this prison break. And then you get the riot on Ferrix.
They
so many high points in this show.
They managed to do a heist show and a prison break. And I was like, yo, this is incredible that they fit these two different aspects into one show.
I found it funny how the guy was like, oh, you're looking around a lot. You look suspicious, the cop guy or whatever. And it's just like, the fuck? And then they throw him in a court and they hit him with the max sentence. Thinking, oh, it was 6 months. Now it's 6 years. That man was like, sick bitch. I just got here 6 years. I'm just a tourist for real. Like, I'm not doing nothing. I just found that all funny.
He got 6 years for running on the beach. Also, it just goes to show you how
the after credit scene explains it though, right?
Mm-hmm. And it just
got to build the Death Star. They're just getting slave labor to do it.
That after credit scene was so goddamn good, so damn good. Everyone was kind of predicting this. Like I saw that on Twitter after that episode aired. They were like, they're definitely building some part of the Death Star, right? Like that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
So it's nice to get that little bit of confirmation there at the end.
Yeah, it's also one of the first times where you actually see how some of that shit got built. Because like most of the time in the Star Wars movie, you just see it's built. You know what I mean? Like they're doing some. You see like little robots doing it, but the slaves or the people in prison that are fucking actually building the components for it. So I found it pretty interesting as well. Like
why wouldn't they just make a bunch of clones again? Why don't they just get a big batch of clones to make the Death Star?
I mean, it costs money.
I guess it is cheaper to just arrest people and force them to do it.
Right. I mean, if you watched the Bad Batch, or that there's an episode of the Clone Wars where they show you like there's this whole thing of boot camping all these clones. Like they gotta train them up and all this stuff. I wonder how much effort needs to go into making these clones usable. If just arresting people is easier. But
that's fair.
Did any of you guys wonder whatever happened to Cassian's father? Maybe I don't know the Clem or the guy that was with is it Clem?
He died. He visited his clay stone.
Well, right. That's the only scene we really get.
There's a scene in this episode where they're cleaning whatever the hell it was. I'm not sure what they were cleaning, but they were cleaning something. And he was like we got
sinks.
50 of these things. He's like, these are worth 500 a pop. He's like, this is why you need to look down when other people are looking up, or whatever the hell he said.
Right. That's the only we see him show up when they straight up kidnap Cassian. By the way, they just kidnapped this kid, and they were like, "Yep, we're gonna save his life." And then later you get the one little scene where he's teaching them how to clean like this radiator or whatever, and then Cassian's like touching his brick, which shows this guy died. But like, it's just weird to me that they didn't really say much about like who this person was he basically Cassian's father? If this other woman was Cassian's mom, was there a romantic relationship? Like basically, like who's this character? What impact does he have? Because he's clearly important to Cassian. Cassian touched the brick with like sadness or whatever. Like he's reminiscing on this.
Didn't they show Clem getting shot on the street? It wasn't that one of the flashbacks. I remember that he was on the street and there was a flashback that he had where he saw Clem. And I thought that he got shot during a riot or something.
He was in the middle of the street. Yes.
I don't know if they showed him getting shot or not, but he saw him like in the middle of the street.
He was walking with him, yes, and then some people called some bullshit. He went over there to stop it because the troopers were walking away. He's like, yo, just chill, like calm the fuck down. And then the guy said, turn around, aim, fire. And he looked at him and said, oh shit, I'm about to die. And that's what happened. Yeah.
Famous last words. Oh shit, I'm about to die.
Yeah. The guy who was getting I'm dead.
No, yeah, that's how he died. That's crazy. Fucking. Where did they that scrapyard? Did Bex own that scrapyard? If I'm like, or was she just a worker?
I think she owned it. That's what I gathered because they were selling it in the last episode.
Yeah, that's when they mentioned like it was selling. I was like, so I was thinking the whole time. I was like, damn. So she wasn't a worker. She like owned this whole entire thing. Maybe that's how you got away with the antenna and all that shit.
What I think there are also two different like scrapyards. There's like the shop that Bix owned, and then there's also the other place where the guy was like letting him take the ships.
Yeah,
Were they the same place? It seemed like a different place. Yeah, Pegla was letting him take the ship. It seemed like a different place, but
I think so because one of them had the dogs and one of them didn't have the dogs.
right. But then he ran into Pegla in both spots. So I was just like,
yes,
like I was like, it seemed different. I don't know. I wasn't
But that's
sure.
because-
he climbed over that fence, and then the dogs. Yeah,
But that's because he said, "Oh yeah, because I'm just here to sell it." Because he came there to help sell it. Because when you see those two ugly ass pig dogs, I don't know what the fuck you would call them. Shit, I would have just shot them just for the hell of it. Shits are ugly.
Just gonna shoot his junkyard dogs.
Just as ugly. But no, yeah. All in all, I think Andor hit the spot for it not being over powerful or too much like action packed like how Star Wars is. I think
are you guys ready to rate the show, or do we have anything else to talk about?
I have a few more things I want to mention. Were you guys? I was surprised they put. Do you guys remember who Saul Guerrero is? He was in Rogue One too.
Yep.
The Forrest Whitaker's character.
Yes, great. Yo, Forrest Whitaker is a good actor.
That's his character. I don't think anybody else can play that character at this point.
I was one. I'm surprised. I'm wondering if they're gonna show. I don't know. I mean, again, I watched Rogue One today. He has like this fucking like like a mask. He has to breathe in sometimes, and then like he didn't use that at all in this show. So I was just like, oh, are we gonna see how the fuck he ends up with this mask? He tells Jyn Erso like I'm more machine than man or something like that, and it's like. You know, he had a similar getup, so it wasn't clear. But I wonder if we're gonna end up seeing him get injured and then like kind of get Darth Vader. Like they're gonna put a bunch of like machines in this guy. But.
I think we saw him previously, right? Like, there was something else that I saw him in previously. I think it might have been one of the animated shows or something.
He is in one of the animated shows,
and he's also less injured than he appears in Andor. So this man just keeps getting injured and just replacing bits and pieces of himself. He's Adam Smasher, is what he is.
He's always in the barajas all the time. Well, the business that he's in, you know, he's always going to be in some type of fight or whatever. Just one of those guys, bro, that's just always going to be looking for some next pay.
Now the show is interesting. Doey mentioned like the allusions to other Star Wars things in his antique shop. And there's a lot of shit like that. They make weird references to shit from like Knights of the Old Republic. And like they mention a lot of the old Star Wars stuff, which is cool because like it's like a little bit of something for like the super nerds, the people that are like, I need this deep lore, these deep cuts. But if you're not someone that cares about that, it doesn't matter. It's a word in a sentence. And it's just like, oh, that's some old shit. Oh, that's another planet. Oh, that's whatever. They did such a good line of like skirting right down the middle of like what the hardcore fans want and what the more casual viewer wants.
Yep. What was the other thing you got, Pooch?
Well, I wanted to ask you guys before we get into like our final ratings and getting the fuck out of here. What are you guys looking forward to in the next season? Or like, what predictions do you have? Like, you know.
I kind of gave mine like the sister's gonna come out, and him being more involved with the business with Luther and getting to that more of aggressive, darker character.
I think
you know what?
I love Tony changed this guy's name. First it was Luthian, then it was Luthen, now it's a Lutheran.
Yeah, I'm changing that shit.
Lucifer. I can't wait till his sister is some sort of Sith character, and he's like, no.
Then they chop off his hand. I think the robot's coming, and our boy Luthen does not make it out of this whole thing alive.
Facts.
Is he going to die in season 2? Who knows?
That's how I feel about everybody. I don't think anybody's making it out of
Wasn't
this.
Luthen in Rogue?
I don't remember Luthen in Rogue. I don't remember Biggs in Rogue. Because we're mentioning it.
Fuck Best Buy.
Or that unit of a man. Who the fuck? What's that guy's name? Cassian's like best friend on Ferrix. The big motherfucker.
The big guy. Oh.
Yeah, that guy's a unit. That guy is like a fucking like he'd be in the NFL. He'd be one of the best linemen, easy. But yeah, what I really want to see, rewatching Rogue One, a thing felt a little jarring was how Cassian followed orders in Rogue One, and he was about the rebellion. Like he was like, I'm gonna do anything for this shit. And that is not his personality at all in the show. So it's like, it's very opposite to me. And I want to know what happens along the way to get him to being like basically a bitch to the rebellion, because he's doing dirty shit. He's murdering people. He's backstabbing people. He been helping this girl out. He went to go murder her father in Rogue One. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a pretty dark movie. So it's like, and that's the only time he disobeyed an order. And then at the very end of the movie, maybe you get some of that Cassian from the TV show where he's like, he goes a little rogue or whatever. But like, I just want to know what gets him to the point where he's hardcore following orders and he's all about the rebellion. He cares about the rebellion, and maybe it's Marva's speech, you know. But did he even hear it? It wasn't very clear to me. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that part of it is probably going to be he's going to lose people. He's going to lose some people in the course of the show, and that's going to make him get deeper in. You already saw him listening to what's his name, Nemik's
right.
His manifesto, which I thought was a cool little scene to toss in here in this last episode.
Yeah, and that was my other thing. It was like, what role?
R.I.P. to Nemik.
Yeah, R.I.P. Nemik. In the stupidest way. He's the guy who got crushed by the money. I thought that scene was stupid as hell. They put all this stuff in there, and he's like, "Yep, we're about to take off, and I'm gonna just stand behind this thing that's gonna like fall back."
That was the guy making the encyclopedia, right? Like
he was making the manifesto. He was writing. He's writing like what the rebellion is about.
Right, and I want to know what role his manifesto is gonna play in the rebellion, pretty much. Because he gave his manifesto to Cassian, and then in this episode, you know, he was listening to it like a podcast almost. You know, he had the audio book.
Really, I was not aware of that.
I was feeling those. I was feeling that manifesto, dude. I was like,
remember,
yeah.
he was like, remember what is this? Oppression is not like the natural course of things. It requires a lot of work, and he's basically saying how like they're in a shit circumstance, but you know, and he's just talking about how the empire is wrong and stuff like that. And I don't know, his manifesto was really interesting. We just got like little tidbits here and there. I just want to know what role is that going to play in the rebellion.
To your Andor question though, I think we're seeing bits and pieces of it. I don't know if y'all noticed, but a lot of the speeches that we get in this show, a lot of like the motivational things that we get from like in the prison scene and things like that, a lot of them are just Andor's words repeated back by someone that's taken that leadership role a little bit from him. That one way out, that stand up and fight prison thing, is basically exactly what Andor told Homeboy in the prison cell. Like it's almost word for word what he told him.
Yeah,
he's just playing like the cheerleader, and he's gonna step into that role eventually. I think that's kind of what I'm expecting from like 2 or season 3. I think there's 3 seasons or 2. I'm not sure what they've announced.
Hopefully 3, because the way it's going is looking really good, and I'm enjoying it.
But yeah, give me that robot intro. Give me their little meet cute. I'm pleased with where the show's going.
All right, so I mean, it's pretty clear how everybody feels about the show. But
Yeah,
You're just
verdicts.
trying to do a
should
wrap
we,
up
should
of
we,
it?
Go
should we
ahead.
mix it up? Should we do the 3 best Star Wars shows? What are the ranks of them for each of us?
I think we give a rank and then give the 3 favorite.
I think there's 3 shows. Right? Or
There's o-
what? Yeah,
There's
yeah,
only
yeah.
3 shows: The Mandalorian,
I
Yeah, there's
can't. I
4.
can't rate
Boba
the
Fett,
shows because I never watched them.
and oh,
Yeah, that's fair.
You never watched The Mandalorian?
Nope.
What the fuck?
or
good show, dude.
Obi-Wan. He didn't watch Obi-Wan either.
What the fuck?
Yeah, those are the
And
top
he
3
didn't
for
watch
me
Boba
right
Fett.
there.
He didn't watch Boba Fett either.
I didn't watch Boba Fett.
I didn't watch Boba
What?
Fett.
Listen, I didn't
watched-
need to because I watched Andor.
I watched 2 episodes of Boba Fett, and that man kept making the goofiest faces, and I had to stop.
I watched
Couldn't
every
deal
single
with it
show.
anymore.
All right, Doey, what's your verdict on the show? Let's
5
wrap
out of
up.
5. 10 out of 10. Sound, visuals, story, acting, characters. 10 out of 10. 5 out of 5. It's phenomenal. Recommend to anyone close to you that you care about. Yeah.
All right.
Tony, next is the order usually.
Yeah. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Only because some unanswered questions. Even though I did enjoy how normal it looked, it didn't look overpowered. I would still like to have seen a little bit more of action, I guess. I mean, we did get a lot of action, but it was just like some episodes was just, I felt like it got drawn out too much. Like the whole heist thing, that would start to begin a little drawn out for me. Other than that, hopefully season 2, they kind of give us more. If it's only going to be 2 seasons, give us more jam pack. Give us, get us to where we need to go. And yeah, that's it, really.
Yeah, I've got to go with Doey. This is damn near a perfect show for me. There was only one episode that, for me personally, I was like, this episode's a little slow, and it was the second to last one. But honestly, it was that calm before the storm that we kind of needed. With like, you needed a little space to breathe before all the shit that kicks off in the last episode. But yeah, damn near a perfect show. I can't think of anything that I really disliked that much about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. I love it. I can't recommend it enough. Go watch it. Like Doey said, if you care about any of the people near you, especially Thanksgiving coming up, it'd be the perfect opportunity to spread the good word.
For sure.
Also, just want to toss in, the other guy he escapes the prison with is one of he becomes one of the members of the Rebel Alliance later.
Yep.
And he's in Rogue One. They do some shit together pretty much. So I thought it was super cool. So
That's incredible. That dude was so passionate on the beach. He was like seeing his vision.
I want to know how many they lost in that prison riot, because they were killing some of those prisoners, dude.
yeah, but they for every prisoner killed, they killed a lot of Imperial dudes. Like the beginning was a meat grinder, but after they took that advantage, they were just plowing through them. Like,
Yeah.
but sorry, this is the
Such a
wrap.
good scene. Such a good scene.
Yeah. Love the show. You guys should watch it.
Well, I think that is another episode of the One Up Reviews Star Wars Andor. Keep an eye out on our page for more reviews. We're starting to do this a lot more. We're starting to pick things that we really enjoy. If you enjoyed this, share this with your friends. Please click that like button. Subscribe. Help us out like we're helping you out. And always remember that you can one-up yourself.
And may the one up be with you.
Happy holidays, guys.
Bye, y'all.